A shocking study emerged from Brussels last week, the European Union and sexual violence. Some 42,000 women were interviewed in 28 countries, and this is fundamentally what it showed. 1 out of every 10 women, that's over 4,000 in that small sample, were subjected to some form of sexual violence after the age of 15. And 1 out of 20, that's over 2,000 in that small sample, were subjected to rape after the age of 15. And they were subjected in many instances, in fact a third of the instances, to repeated rape. That means 6 times or more. And a full third of the rapes were committed by current or former partners. And interestingly enough, and shockingly enough, sexual violence is one of the least reported crimes. Only 14% of the women reported the assault. So this survey simply confirms what is going on in the contagion of sexual violence around the world, much of it possibly transmitting the AIDS virus. So you would think that on International Women's Day, or on the eve of International Women's Day, UNAIDS would issue one of those stirring statements to demonstrate its commitment to ending violence against women. Instead, you had the most insubstantial, superficial clutter of 3 or 4 paragraphs that could have been thrown together by some passing consultant, really insulting and trivializing women. As always, of course, with a slogan in the middle. You see, everything UNAIDS does these days requires a slogan. So here I will reveal to you, probably for the first time for most of you, the International Women's Day slogan for 2014, courtesy UNAIDS, quote, "Women make it happen, but it doesn't always happen for women," close quote. I'll repeat, women make it happen, but it doesn't always happen for women. Is that stirring and memorable, or is that stirring and memorable? You know, somewhere there's got to be an international women's organization that monitors the insubstantial drivel that emerges from time to time from United Nations agencies. Where it concerns women, it verges on indifference, contempt, even misogyny. And finally, last week, of course, I have to say that Robert Mugabe, the president of Zimbabwe, took the podium of the United Nations General Assembly to say how he was protecting human rights in Zimbabwe. And the ambassador, the representative of Uganda at the Human Rights Council in Geneva, explained how the anti-homosexuality law in Uganda did not violate the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Will you stick with me for a moment while I go over time and tell you a faintly semi-humorous anecdote? When I was the ambassador from Canada to the United Nations in 1985, I chaired a committee whose job it was to draft a declaration celebrating the 40th anniversary of the UN. And in the middle of the discussions, the then Soviet Union ambassador passionately said that human rights must be a part of the declaration. And then an interpreter, who didn't realize his microphone was on, said, so that we all heard it, quote, "That bastard wouldn't know human rights if he fell over them." He was fired, but that's how I feel about those reprehensible reprobates who pretend to human rights. That was last week. I'm Stephen Lewis.